me, like just from what you're saying, is it's like basically there's three dynamics going on this email inbox. There's either people looking, going, I can't pronounce his name. That's going to be an awkward social interaction. So we're going to look the other way. Second, that for me is a racist action. That you're not willing to have that awkward conversation, and you look at the facts and you go, that's really someone talented. And that's the problem with the industry, is that people are not willing to step out of their social norms, really, in a creative industry anyway. Second one is that, as we mentioned earlier on off camera, is that the South African mindset is one that everyone's too busy. I can't answer your email, I can't even take a shit, I'm so busy. I'm so busy because busy people are important. I'm so busy. And then you get an email like 2 weeks later going, I'm so busy, and you're like, I'm so busy. And like for me, it's like the way of going, your email must have just come because you were bored and you're not busy, so you're unimportant. No. Think about the other person's life. They've taken time out of their day to email you. It's probably just ping them a response, something like that. Even if it's a fuck no, it's better than nothing. Anyway, and then I can't remember what the third one I was going to go on to now, because I feel like it's always nice to list things in threes. But I think like the other one is just basically there is no funding. Like we are in a world saturated in funding. So the problem is that you are wheeling and dealing. You must know this. Like you are constantly wheeling and dealing to get projects done. Everyone comes here with a reduced budget. Everyone's a struggle. Everyone's fucking eating 2 minute noodles at the 15th of the month, you know, and like fucking like ripping up coupons, fucking like ShopRite, for fuck's sakes. Like,
do you think this is sort of like with all the skills that you learned as a filmmaker, do you think that it's like, you know, it's a waste of time now to branch out onto social media platforms to get monetized and then?
I don't know about, I've not really considered social media platforms, but also in terms of skills, it stresses me out of like as a filmmaker myself, documentary filmmaking, it's always like, I use maybe one specific kind of camera, like I'll use a Canon, I'll not use a Sony. Then you enter the industry and they have these red cameras, and then they have these Arri cameras, and then you have all these other larger cameras, and like all these more complicated sets of equipment that you now have to learn, and it's like you just have to keep learning, right? But it's you know, once you don't have access to a thing, you can't claim to have known how to do it, and then that cuts you off. Even if yes, I can shoot, yes, I can do this, but I've not touched the camera, I wouldn't know what to do, I wouldn't know how to treat it. Like I'll go YouTube the night before, but that's hardly the same as you know, as experience, you know, and then to get that experience in the first place. I don't know. I guess, yeah, because I do know connections work quite a bit, like
I mean, you just gotta work through it and kind of make up that lack of skill base by collaborating with other people. You know, you try and make collaboration efforts, but like, you know, I think for me, I'm probably a poor collaborator in many regards. I think I'm a much better solo animal. Like I can even ask all my art directors, they're like, fuck that guy again. Anyway, so basically I sit at my desk and I write things out. But like, I think like what you're talking about, the information, like the skill gap that limits you from job offerings. Like I know that quite well, because when I started the journey 10 years ago, I was saying to Kaylin over lunch, or supper, edit that. Anyway, so over supper, I said, when I started in advertising, there were like 2 trains of thought, where it was like you could be either an online copywriter or a traditional writer. And it was like, there was like a huge division in the middle. And like, nowadays, it's such an odd thing for me to think that like there was such a dead line between writing like the collateral and the assets for each like campaign, you know, because it's like, and I've had to learn new skills like writing SEO. It's like something that like wasn't taught to me. Search engine optimization. Camera lady. So search engine optimization, and like the thing is that like we are, and I'm lucky now that like for the first time I can look at my industry going, there's a boom for SEO because people want content, and like like they you need to get that Google rating.
Yeah.
So like people are calling me, they want me to write content about anything really, just to get them those like stuff, and then you need to know how to get a backlink, which comes back to the the PR experience, because then you need links to like nice websites and stuff like that, and blah blah blah. But it's not. But
Action.
I was gonna say, I was gonna do the clapper.
What
Take two.
Take two. There we go.
What do you mean for Canva?
Canva, yes.
Canva.
The Canva.
I can't put it up.
Isn't it like, I'm looking at it from the photographer's point of view now. It's the same as me using Photoshop to edit the pictures. Like there's a whole process, retouching, color grading, and then someone takes a phone and they have an application on the phone with a few clicks and they're done editing.
Yeah, it's
It is.
Do you think it's unfair?
I don't know if it's unfair, but I feel like we literally are living in such a precarious world where technology is just coming in. Like, trust there's gonna be apps in a few days that we're gonna be doing. Like, I don't know, in just a few years or months, there's probably gonna be apps that will make entire films and documentaries without me having to be there. And that's very scary.
That's
It's
true.
very
That's true. I've
frightening.
seen a few
Yeah.
YouTube videos like they show you the download an application, like you just have videos on your phone and you can edit them in the application. The same cases like what we do in Adobe Premiere Pro and Final Cut.
I was going to say that, so I came across a program online, and it was an AI copywriting bot, and I was like, let me try, because it's hilarious sometimes. And this thing was so close to being good.
Yeah.
And the thing was that like, and I looked at it and I was like, oh well, there goes my chain drop. But then I realized that like, the whole thing is like, if you are creative, that you can always, you always gotta have like different perspectives of how the thing can be like kind of done. And the program will give you just only a slight selection. And I was making that kerning joke earlier on with designers. The kerning does matter. The details do matter, and the program does not have the finer details. So it's like, even as the joke of the AI robot, an AI robot who would be a lawyer could tell you the exact case reading or what is in violation, but the exact way of kind of purveying or conveying that finding is what you pay for, and until AI makes a huge jump in emotive understanding.
Yeah.
Like until AI goes, I can understand emotionally what I'm trying to get. I understand emotionally what you're trying to convey in your writing and your photographs. Or like when you look at a well-lit photograph, and it's been done by a photographer, you understand there's a big difference between that and per se the fucking Paris filter on like Instagram, or like that filter that removes all the spots on your face. Like smooths out your face, and you're like, but it looks like my grandmother with a fuck ton of Botox. It's terrible. But like for me, but that's the thing though, it's the nuances, and that's what keeps creators alive. It's like we're all, God, it's such a cliche line. It's the details that matters, guys. So like, just consult people on the details and you'll be good.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
so less editing and more just being genuine.
Sorry.
So like when it comes to, I'm sorry to interrupt, when it comes to doing like Photoshop, getting all the marks and all this stuff, would you prefer just seeing all the imperfections and stuff and making that markable, so that people, younglings out there who are looking at the supermodel on a magazine,
Answer that question.
can be like, oh, if that person that looks like me, either size-wise or like with scars and imperfection marks in the face, be like, oh, if he can make it or she can make it on a magazine, that gives me inspiration to be on there instead of me working away, going for plastic surgery, just to
that's a bigger topic than advertising, creativity. So for me, the creative answer of that is yes, it's the client brief. So like the problem is like if you want a body positivity campaign, you need to be nuanced, sensitive, and incredibly thorough about how you do it. And the thing is that like then sure, don't airbrush all the marks out. You know, don't leave the imperfections. Tell the story of the empowerment that needs to come through the campaign, because that's what you need to do to appeal to your market, and that's what you need to do to appease the clients above. Anyway, but the thing is, if it is like a couture Gucci campaign, like I mean I know it sounds super insensitive, but like you can have a body positivity model in that, but like no one who buys Gucci is really that body positive thing. This is a huge generalization. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure there are millions of women who do not fit into a size 6 dress who like would want to see some more of it, but like the brand hasn't evolved, so that you're contracted to tell the story of what they want to convey, which is classic chic, upper class perfection. And the thing is that like until brands, clientele go, you know, can we have a little bit more authenticity? And also the whole thing of authenticity from a brand, you have like a bigger question. And it's not creating a question, it's more like brands that want to communicate empathy and positivity, it is weird. You know, I don't want Telkom to tell me that I'm special and summer is here and that you need to talk to, and like, you know, and then like, and tell me that I'm a unique individual who likes to run on this field and like, look at the sunflowers.
Yeah.
It's like if Telkom could talk to you, you'd know he wouldn't convey that message.
Yeah.
He would probably just tell you.
It feels inauthentic in that sense, coming from like a specific kind of brand as well. Or...
Exactly. So like, I think for me, it's a layered message that one is trying to tell me. And the thing is, like, depending on where, what, and how you are in the world as a creative, you answer what you can. You understand that you shouldn't step over like bad storytelling, being offensive, and just trying to keep within the guidelines. Like, you know, like I think like a good example was like, I think I wrote like a Happy Heritage Day for one client, and they were like, we're a continental brand of Africa, not a South African one. So we can't, why do that?
Yeah.
So like, you know, like that's, you know, for me, it's, you know, sometimes you just need to be aware of what you're trying to communicate and how, and yeah, so I think for, anyway, but the body positivity thing, I think people, yeah, it's a minefield. Like,
yeah, I think also sorry. I was just thinking about this concept in like advertising and, you know, perspective versus from like a film perspective and like documentary filmmaking perspective, where it's kind of been the norm for so long. But then also the knowledge that when suddenly people kind of break the mold of what is like this expectation of a romantic film or like anything like that, suddenly it's so appreciated, and simply because I think, you know, like they've kind of defined, you know, like what love looks like or what like bodies look like and stuff like that, which I guess, you know, I've also really digested those messages and enjoyed them for so long, that when we do see something different, that's also honest, because I think honesty is like a very huge part of that, because you can't like put an authentic story about like love and body positivity, it still feels weird, whether, you know, you recognize it or not. But yeah, when you do see like nuance and authenticity and stuff like that in a story or in an advert, you can relate to it a lot more than you can to, I don't know, just, oh yes, be happy, you know, with your body or things like that. Like it doesn't feel as real as saying that.
I feel like also with your skills, with documentary, it's not a question that you've had to ask yourself how the material, or maybe I'm misinterpreting this, how material is interpreted is that, and the same with journalism, is that you're not altering facts for the client's needs. You're a truth finder, and you present what is found. Am I understanding that correctly?
We still create truth. I feel like we do find truth, but then it's also like, it's like a perception of a truth, because I don't think there's like one, you know, defined truth. There's multiple truths at any point.
I mean,
So it's like, I think with film for me, like, because if I'm to ever tell a story, I think I'll never be able to tell a story that's so unique and that has never been heard. What I can do is maybe give my perspective and, just add some nuance to something that, people haven't understood about that thing.
okay.
So like if you're someone living in South Africa and you've heard of Uganda, you've heard of it for one way, maybe thanks to like a few National Geographics or something, but me making that story as a Ugandan person, I have my own perspective that might change your mind or like completely.
I mean, like for me, the Ugandan market for me is such an unknown thing because it's like one of those things where like I read somewhere that there are multiple, when people buy those multiple SIM card phones, like in Uganda, it's because there's only certain coverage or certain networks in certain parts of the capital. So you have to kind of switch between the networks.
Yeah, and it's also discounts. You get better discounts here, you get better bundles here.
So you see, that's something that's interesting for me, and like the thing is like how you told the story is much more interesting. Like it's the market, it's the consumer that wants more networks. Like my understanding is when I saw the map and they're like split up. I can't remember the capital city. I know it's the most expensive. Kampala is the most expensive city in the world to live in.
It's not.
Is it a lie?
But I feel like that is such a lie. It might be expensive, but I don't think Kampala is the most expensive.
I heard that to buy a burger there is like a cup like a good $50 or something.
Wow.
So here's the thing. So like the thing is this. It's like it's weird because like I have like you need to make a documentary for me from your perspective on what's happening there because what's preventing me online is a fucking sham, obviously.
Yeah, no, that does make sense, and yeah, maybe like it kind of works differently documentary based on that. Like you can find like a blind spot that certain people have, and you kind of exploiting that blind spot and making sure people understand, what it is that they didn't before. And I don't know how different it works with, like you've explained it a bit, and you kind of creating more than revealing something. I don't know.
You said you're part of the editing kind of side of things, like as an editor or.
And I think I've done everything because I work very independently. So I'll be on set struggling with my sound, struggling with my shooting, and then I'll go home and then try to edit it. So I've worked majorly independent, so I've done the whole thing, which I can't wait to be like really like one of those filmmakers who has a different edit and a different sound guy. But as of yet, that's not been my.
Do you think that's a good thing, or like knowing like how to do everything on your own?
I believe that you need to, even if you.
Don't you like overwork yourself?
I sometimes hate it, and I do wish I could have, but I feel like at the end of the day, you're way better off kind of having that knowledge of what you want to do and what story you want to tell, as opposed to someone kind of coming to you, and if you don't know how to do it, you're going to accept anything that's not what you want. But if you do know or you have that knowledge, you can find a way to make what you want come true.